Hey, my peoples, how y'all doing? Okay, I'm here cooking, right? And I was thinking about just producing in general because, I got a playlist. By the way, you should always check out my playlist to see what I bump in. I have a thing called More Dishwashing Music, because I'll be washing plates or whatever. And I was listening to live nigga rap, and I was like, do people realize that this is one of the dopest beats ever? Like, that beat is fucking insane. Okay? And it got me thinking, like, how Havoc doesn't really get his props. But in general, it started making me think about how, for some reason, I was thinking about Kanye West and how Kanye West is the most overrated producer of all time. I'm gonna explain why. I don't think Kanye West is trash as a producer. He has some great beats. No, I'm not even gonna pretend like he doesn't. Some of his shit genuinely slaps. A lot of it doesn't. Let's be honest here. But some of it definitely is dope. Some of it definitely slaps. The problem I see with Kanye West, and I compare it to guys like Havoc, Timbaland, DJ Premier, RZA, is that Kanye's shit has always been very obvious. Even when it's dope, the sample is obvious. It's like, okay, he's sampling things that aren't really out of the way for what your average listener, even whatever black listener has heard before or grew up on, right? Like, it'll sample some obvious shit like the Spinners or whatever, Marvin Gaye, which is cool. But the really great hip hop producers, the top five, the GOATs, they make beats where you're like, what the fuck did you even use to make this beat? Like, how was this beat even made? Like, what sound did you use again? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, I listen to live nigga rap. I have no idea how that beat was made. I just know that that beat is insane and it slaps and it's fucking phenomenal. But what sounds were used to make that shit? You know what I mean? Look at Come Clean by DJ Premier. People really thought that DJ Premier sampled water. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you get into this space with the classic producers where it's like they're almost manipulating noise, right? Like, and noises and things that you hear in your daily environment, and they're snatching that shit out of your, the daily environment and putting them into beats. That's wizard shit. That's god level shit. And all the great producers do this, right? Whether it be Timbaland with the crickets or the baby noises, right? DJ Premier with the water droplets, right? RZA with that stroke of death, just some insane, like, what did you even sample? Why did you even decide to loop this shit, right? Jay Dilla, even, just the way he made that Get This Money, some of those beats where you're just like, wow, you really flipped the fuck out of this sample. You know what I mean? That's when you start getting into this GOAT level shit. Until you do that, you're not GOAT level. DJ Premier made Nas's like a GOAT level beat. For years, decades, people have been trying to figure out where the samples came from. That's what I'm talking about. Even when you sample stuff, it's either we have no idea what you sampled, or you sample something so obscure it takes us a minute to figure out, or you flip it in such a crazy way that we weren't even thinking about. Kanye West doesn't do that shit. Kanye West will take some obvious shit like Through the Fire, Chaka Khan, and chipmunk that shit, and it sounds like trash. Let's be honest. When Chaka Khan said that Through the Wire song was trash to her, she's absolutely right. I heard that song back in the day in 2003 whenever it came out, and I remember thinking, wow, this is trash. Okay, and let's be real here. I like the chipmunk thing if it's done well. Just Blaze kind of started that. Let's keep it real with You Don't Know and a bunch of those joints. Okay, they kind of took it from RZA, took it to a different place. So it's not about whether it's chipmunk or not, it's about how it's done. The Chaka Khan Through the Fire shit was done horribly. It sounds really shrill, and it's just kind of lazy and lame, right? But of course, that's Kanye's thing. It's mediocrity. He sells mediocrity. People that invest in Kanye West as a hip-hop guy, they want to belong. They're not really interested in hip-hop like that. They just want to say that they're into hip-hop. So they're mediocre ass can fit in, but it's not, we know that they're not really heads like that. The fact of the matter is this: I cannot think of a single Kanye West beat where I'm like, yo, that beat is insane. Like, just on some like you went so left field, my dude. Like, holy shit. I can't think of one. I will say that the beat that he did for Pusha, um, Numbers on the Boards, now that I think about it, is probably one of the closest ones. You know, he tried. He tried. You know, and someone else probably made that beat. And let's be honest with you. Another thing with ghost producers and shit like that, Kanye's been having. But that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, you kind of need a beat like that. And even that's like, Numbers on the Boards, it's close, but it's not quite there. Whereas you got, you know, Neptune's, Trilla, Grinding. Like, you got, these guys made beats so you just went like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the thing about hip-hop. Like, especially with great producers, the guys that we put on that pedestal, they make insane beats. They make stuff that everyone likes, you know, and, you know, you can listen to it and be like, oh, that was cute. That was cute. But I'm talking about really being on the next level of sound. You know, like when Primo was working with jazz samples, a lot of people weren't working with jazz samples. He kind of invented that shit to a certain degree. And then when people started copying that and it got lame, he was like, okay, all right, instead of doing like this sort of, I'm going to loop it different. And I was inspired by RZA, because RZA was on some other shit. And so that's when you started getting Primo with the little chops and the stabbing and just the way he chopped shit that was on some other shit, right? You gotta do things that really stand out. And I think that's always been my problem with Ye. Like, Ye's cred is built on like him being a hip-hop guy, and he has some hip-hop stuff, but the hip-hop stuff, even the best of the hip-hop stuff that he has, I Came For You, I Gotta Love, with Jin, even the best stuff is not quite like the craziest shit you've ever heard. And to me, that's, you know, that's really what keeps him from being in that GOAT conversation as a producer. He's in the mid-tier. You can argue maybe mid-tier. Like I said, maybe he's a B-level. You can compare him to like a Buck Wild or a Knotts, or I don't know. Like, maybe that's where I would put Kanye. I don't think he's trash at, you know, in terms of hip-hop. At least some of his earlier stuff when he was making for other people before he started doing his solo stuff. But nothing he's ever made, solo or otherwise, has been in a, you know, an A-level beat to me, or an A+ level beat, where I'm just like, what the fuck? It's never happened. Some might get mad. It is what it is, man. Peace.